everyone, welcome to my video lesson for Quarter 1, Week 1 module. For your Lesson 1 for this module, we will talk about quadratic equation. So determine natin kung ano ba muna yung meaning ng quadratic equation. A quadratic equation in one variable is a mathematical sentence of degree 2. Ibig sabihin, yung pinakamataas na exponent niya is 2. That can be written in the standard form ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0, where a, b, and c are real numbers and a is not equal to 0. The values of a, b, and c are the numerical coefficients of quadratic term, linear term, and constant term, respectively. So, magbigay tayo ng example para mas malaman itong quadratic term, linear term, and constant term. For example, we have ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. Ax squared is what we call quadratic term, yung pinaka-highest degree of exponent, which is 2. Linear term naman is yung may exponent na 1. So that is what we call linear term. And c is what we call constant term. So paano ba natin yan magagamit sa ibang example? So for example, we have 3x squared plus 5x minus 2 is equal to 0. So unang-una, tignan nyo, nakasulat ba yan as a standard form? Yung ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So nakasulat yan. Ngayon, alamin natin yung value ng ating a, b, and c para sa equation na to. Yung a is the numerical term for your quadratic term. So, hanapin nyo yung may pinakamataas na exponent. So, kay 3x squared yan. So, ang numerical ni 3x squared ay 3. Si b naman, kay linear term, that is 5, and c is negative 2. Another example, 5x times x minus 4 is equal to 0. Is it written as standard form? So, hindi pa. So, i-rewrite natin yan as a standard form. Distribute nyo si 5x into the parentheses na x minus 4. So, 5x times x is 5x squared minus 5x times negative 4, that is negative 20x is equal to 0. Yan. So, yan ay nakasulat na sa standard form. Ngayon, alamin na natin si a, b, and c for the different term. Si a is equal to 5, si b naman is negative 20, c is equal kay 0. Example 3, we have 4x plus 1 squared is equal to 0. Is it written as standard form? So no, kailangan nating i-rewrite yan ng standard form. So expand lang natin yan. 4x plus 1 times 4x plus 1 is equal to 0. Then, use FOIL method. So, first is 4x times 4x, that's 16x squared. Tapos, outer, that is 4x times 1, so 4x. Inner, 4x times 1, so that is also 4x. Tapos, yung last natin, which is 1 times 1. So, equal siya ay 1. Ngayon, combine like terms, we will have 16x squared plus 8x plus 1 is equal to 0. So, yan na yung standard form ng ating equation. Ngayon, pwede na natin kunin yung a, b, and c for this equation. So, a is equal to 16, b is equal to 8, and c is equal to 1. Example number 4 tayo. X plus 3 times x minus 7 is equal kay negative 12. Is it written as standard form? Not yet. So, kailangan nating i-rewrite yan into standard form. So, FOIL method, x squared minus 7x plus 3x minus 21 is equal to negative 12. Combine like terms, we will have x squared minus 4x minus 21 plus 12 equals 0. So, x squared minus 4x minus 9 is equal to 0 kasi negative 21 plus 12 is negative 9. So, yan na yung standard form ng ating equation. Ngayon, pwede na natin kunin si a, b, and c. Si a is 1, si b is negative 4, and si c is negative 9. Okay, dito naman tayo sa ating lesson 2, solving quadratic equation. So, meron tayong 4 ways to solve quadratic equation. So, una, meron tayong solving by extracting the square roots, then solving by factoring, Tapos, meron din tayong solving by completing the square, and yung pinakahuli, we solve by using quadratic formula. So first one, we solve by extracting the square roots. So this method can be applied only if the quadratic equation is in the form of x squared is equal to k, or if it can be expressed in the said form. Square root property: if x squared is equal to k, then x is equal to positive negative square root of k, where k is a non-zero real number. So ayon kay square root property, kapag mag-square root tayo ng number, magkakaroon tayo ng positive negative square root of k. So example 1, what is the solution set of x squared minus 100 is equal to 0? So, ibig sabihin ng solution set is yung mga number na kapag sinubstitute mo kay x, magsasatisfy yung ating equation. So, pag may number kang sinubstitute kay x, dapat mag-i-equal yan kay 0. So, try nating isolve yon by completing the square. Alright, from the example x squared minus 100 is equal to 0, so we need to isolate x squared to the left side of your equation. Kaya naman, gagamit tayo ng addition property of equality. So, mag-a-add tayo ng 100 for the both sides. So, x squared is equal to 100. Then, square root natin, katulad ng square root property na binasa ko kanina, para ma-remove natin si squared. Tapos, yung square root of 100, magpa-positive negative yan doon sa square root property. So, x is equal to positive negative 10 kasi square root of 100 is equal to 10. So, ang solution set natin, kasi dalawa yan, positive 10 tsaka negative 10. So, yan dalawa, yung pag sinubstitute mo sa x, mag-i-equal to 0 yan. Okay, next example. Find the solution set of x squared is equal to 0. So, madali lang to. So, paano gagawin natin dyan? Sa x squared is equal to 0. So, since na-isolate naman na si x squared, what you need to do is just square root to remove the square. So, you will have x is equal to 0. So, wala namang sign si 0, di ba? So, neutral lang yan. X is equal to 0. So, yung solution set natin is equal to 0. So, wala siyang positive negative kasi special number ang 0. Okay, example 3. Find the solution set of 3x squared plus 15 is equal to 0. So, need nating matira lang si x sa left side ng equation. So, 3x squared is equal to negative 15. Tapos, divide both sides by 3. X squared is equal to negative 5. So, square root natin according to the square root property. Kaya, magiging x is equal to positive negative square root of negative 5. So, our solution set is negative square root of negative 5 and square root of negative 5. Example number 4. Solve for x if 2x squared minus 6 is equal to 0. Remember class, dito sa solving quadratic equation, we always solve for the value of the x para masatisfy yung ating equation. So 2x squared minus 6 is equal to 0. Isolate natin. Kailangan natin kunin yung value ni x. So, 2x squared is equal to 6 by using EPE. Then, divide both sides by 2 by using multiplication property of equality. So, you will have x squared is equal to 3. Now, by using square root property, you will have x squared is equal to positive negative square root of 3. So, you will have x with the roots of positive, negative, square root of 3. Okay, so yan dalawa yung magiging value ng ating x. Okay, to the example number 5 naman, find the roots of x minus 5 squared is equal to 16. So, roots, yung pwede nating i-substitute kay x para masatisfy ulit yung ating equation. So, from the example, x minus 5 squared is equal to 16, pwede na natin gamitin yung square root property dito. So, para matanggal natin si square, ayan. So, x minus 5 is equal to positive negative 4. Kasi square root of 16 is 4, di ba? Kaya ang ating x will have 5 positive negative 4. So, magkakaroon tayo ng dalawang value dyan. Yung isa, 5 plus 4. Yung isa naman is 5 minus 4. So, yung 5 plus 4 is equal to 9. Tapos, yung 5 minus 4 naman is equal to 1. So, yung dalawang yan, yung magiging roots ng ating equation. And, okay, another one is solving by factoring. So, meron tayong steps dito para ma-solve natin by factoring isang quadratic equation. We have 4 steps. Step 1, transform the quadratic equation in standard form if necessary. Step 2, factor the polynomial. Step 3, apply the zero product property by setting each factor equal to 0. Step 4, solve the equations in step 3. Okay, paano ba gawin yan? For example 1, we have solved 3x squared minus 15x minus 0. It should be equal to 0. So 3x squared minus 15x equal to 0. So solve natin yan. So, factor na natin. 3x times x minus 15 is equal to 0. Ito naman yung na-factor natin yung dalawa, yung 3x tsaka x minus 15, equate natin sila into 0. So, 3x is equal to 0, and x minus 15 is equal to 0. Solve na natin yan. Kunin natin yung value ng dalawang x natin. So, 3x over 3 is equal to 0 over 3. So, ang value ng ating unang x is 0. Yung pangalawa naman, gamitan lang natin, ilipat lang natin sa negative 15 on the right side of the equation. So, we will have positive 15. So, our x sub 2 is equal to 15. So, ang ating value ng x ay 0 and positive 5. 0 or, it should be or class. Kasi pipili ka lang naman ng isa dyan. So, it should be 0 or positive 5. Example 2. Find the roots of x squared is equal to 9x minus 18. Yan. Na-standard form ba? We need lagi na na-standard form ang ating equation para ma-solve natin. So, rewrite muna natin yan into standard form. So, it will become x squared minus 9x plus 18 is equal to 0. Then, factor na. X minus 6 tsaka x minus 3 is the factors of this equation. Then, so solve na natin itong dalawang factor natin after we equate to 0. So, x minus 6 equal to 0 and x minus 3 equals to 0. So, you will have for the x sub 1 is equal to 6 and x sub 2 is equal to 3. So, ang ating roots are 6 or 3. Dito naman tayo sa solving by completing the square. Before we use this method for solving quadratic equation, let us recall that if the expression ax squared plus bx plus c is a perfect square trinomial, it can be factored out into two identical binomial factors. So, ano ba example ng ating perfect square trinomial? So, ito yung mga example ng ating perfect square trinomial. So, x squared plus 4x plus 4. Kasi, yung mga factor niya, kaya naging perfect square trinomial yan, yung dalawang factor niya is identical or pareho into each other. Sa x squared plus 4x plus 4, it have a factor of x plus 2 and x plus 2. Sa x squared minus 10x plus 25 naman, meron siyang x minus 5. Si 4x squared plus 12x plus 9, meron naman siyang 2x plus 3. Yan. Itong tinatawag natin dyan is the identical binomial factors. So, what if the expression in the form ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0 is not a perfect square trinomial? So, anong gagawin natin? So, ganito lang yan. Magsaset na tayo ng procedure para magamit natin yung completing the square. So, for example, we have x squared minus 8x plus blank. So, alamin natin yung constant term. So, paano ba natin kukunin yung constant term? Yung b natin sa linear term, so regardless of the sign, positive man yan or negative, magiging positive lang yan. So, 8 over 2 is equal to 4. Tapos, after you divide it by 2, you square para makuha mo yung constant term. So, 8 over 2 is equal to 4. Squared, that is 16. So, replace na natin yung ating 16 sa ating equation. So, 16 is the constant term that will complete the equation. Okay, gamitin naman natin siya sa mga example. For this one, find the value of c to complete the square for x squared minus 12x plus c. And kunin muna natin yung 1/2 ni b, tapos square natin. Ayan. So, 12 over 2 squared is equal kay 36. So, 36 yung ating constant term or yung value ng c dito sa ating example number 1. So, this is our full equation which is x squared minus 12x plus 36. For the example number 2, solve x squared minus 12x plus 35 equals 0 by completing the square. So, itong x squared minus 12x plus 35 equals 0, hindi naman siya perfect square trinomial. So, kailangan natin tong isolve by completing the square. So, ilipat nyo muna si 35 into the right side of the equation para magkakuha tayo ng perfect square trinomial. So, tulad ng ginagawa natin kanina, no? Mag-add lang tayo ng blank. Maghanap natin tayo ng constant. So, x squared minus 12x plus, yung constant natin na hinahanap, equals negative 35. So, b over 2 squared yun, di ba? So, x squared minus 12x plus 12 over 2 squared is equal to negative 35 plus 12 over 2 squared. So, saan nyo nakuha yung sa right side na meron ding 12 over 2 squared? Kapag mag-a-add tayo ng isang number to the left side, mag-a-add din tayo to the right side ng isa ding number para balance yung equation natin. So, simplify natin, x squared minus 12x. So, 12 over 2 is 6. Squared, that is 36, is equal to negative 35 plus 36. Factor na natin tong x squared minus 12x plus 36 according to the completing the square. Pag perfect square trinomial yan, two identical factors. So, it will become x minus 6 squared is equal to 1. So, kailangan na natin kunin yung value ni x. So, kailangan muna natin remove si square para magalaw natin yung na-parentheses. So, by square root property, to remove the square, we need to apply square root to both of the equation, both sides of the equation. So, you will have x minus 6 equals positive negative 1. So, yung x sub 1 natin, class, since positive negative yan, tapos itatranspose mo din si 6. So, 6 plus 1 is equal to 7. That's your first root. Then, you have x sub 2, 6 minus 1, which is 5. So, our roots of the solution are 7 or 5. Example number 3. Find the roots of 2x squared plus 4x minus 8 is equal 0. Okay. Since ito ay a natin is equal to 2, hindi yan 1, so divide muna natin lahat ng terms natin into 2. 2x squared divided by 2 is x squared, 4x divided by 2 is 2x, and negative 8 divided by 2 is negative 4. So, katulad ng ginawa natin kanina, no? Ilipat natin si negative 4 para makuha natin constant at makapag-completing the square tayo. Ayan. So, b over 2 squared lang ang tatandaan ninyo. So, x squared plus 2x plus 2 over 2 squared is equal to 8 plus, syempre, nag-add ka sa left side, mag-add ka din sa right side. 2 over 2 squared. So, it will become x squared plus 2x plus 1, kasi 2 over 2 is 1, 1 squared is 1, is equal to 8 plus 1. So, according to the perfect square trinomial, meron tayong identical ulit. So, x plus 1 squared is equal to 9. Now, we get the value of x by using square root property. Apply square root to the both sides of the equation to remove the square. So, we will have x plus 1 is equal to positive negative 3. Now, transpose positive 1. You will have 2 kasi negative 1 plus 3 yan. Sa x sub 2 naman natin, negative 1 minus 3. So, you will have negative 4. So, ang ating solutions are positive 2 or negative 4. Okay, and the last one, we have solving by using quadratic formula. If ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0, where a, b, and c are real numbers and a is not equal to 0, then x x is equal to negative b, positive negative square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So, itong formula na to is yung kailangan nyong i-memorize. Lahat yan magagamit kahit anong quadratic equation. Basta alam yung a, yung b, and c. Katulad ng ginawa natin sa lesson 1. Example number 1 tayo. Solve 2x squared minus 6x minus 8 is equal to 0. Ayan. Nakasulat ba siya as standard form? So, nakasulat siya. So, pwede na natin kunin si a, b, and c, which are 2, negative 6 naman kay b, negative 8 naman kay c. So, by using our quadratic equation, which is x is equal to negative b, positive negative square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a, substitute lang natin si a, si b, at si c. So, it will become negative times negative 6, positive negative square root of negative 6 squared, minus 4 times 2. What is c? That is negative 8 over 2 times 2. So, to simplify, you will have 6 positive negative square root of 100 over 4. So, meron naman tayong value ng square root ng 100. So, it will become also 6 positive negative 10 over 4. So, meron tayong dalawang value ng x, di ba? Kasi positive negative yan. So, yung una, yung 6 plus 10 over 4. Tapos yung pangalawa naman is 6 minus 10 over 4. So, 16 over 4. Yung x sub 1 natin is equal kay 4. Isa naman, negative 4 over 4. Yung x sub 2 natin is equal to negative 1. Okay, for example number 2. Solve x squared plus 9x minus 7 is equal to 0. So, it is written naman as standard form. So, pwede natin makuha si a, b, and c, which are 1, 9, and negative 7. So, gamit yung ating quadratic equation, substitute lang. Tapos, simplify. You will have x equal to negative 9, positive negative square root of 109 over 2. So, dito, hindi naman na natin masisimplify si square root of 109. So, ito na yung gagamitin natin. So, meron tayong dalawang roots, which are negative 9, positive square root of 109 over 2, tsaka negative 9, negative 2, square root of 109 over 2. So, yun lang naman yung laman ng ating week 1 module. So, I hope you learned something from this video lesson. See you next week. Goodbye!